Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Dramasology podcast. In this episode, I am going to be covering the Korean drama Parasite Degree. This is a drama that I just finished watching recently, and I really liked it. And also, I'm a little familiar with the source material, so I thought this would be a good drama to cover in this episode. This drama has 6 episodes. All 6 episodes were dropped at the same time, all at once on Netflix. And typically, I find that with Netflix's like shorter web series, like the shorter ones that are like 8 episodes, 12 episodes, it's a hit or miss. It's either really, really, really good or really, 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 really bad. I think this is in the like really good direction. I think that it was a good cast, good execution, and just generally a good story. There are a few things I dislike, but honestly, it kept my attention throughout. So thumbs up for it. For those who don't know, Parasite Degree basically follows this world where basically parasites have come and invaded the earth. They are taking over our bodies. Human beings are basically at risk, right, of turning into, of being taken over by these parasites. But amidst this all, there are a few people that can live symbiotically with this creature, usually by accident. So in the case of our character in this Korean version, Jung Soo In is somebody that got the parasite in her body, but because she was half dead already, the parasite was also too weak, or I guess did not have the ability to also take over her full body. So when she was finally like taken to the hospital and treated, by that point it was too late for the parasite to kind of infiltrate her mind completely, right? Because her body was so weak. And so she has to kind of live in this like relationship with this parasite. For those who know a little bit about the source material, and I don't read mangas, so I didn't read the original manga Parasite, but I did watch a bit of the anime, so I know about original like main protagonist. Shinichi gets a parasite on his right hand called Migi. So I do know a little bit about that because I watched that anime, or at least some part of it. And it's basically in the same like scenario. It's just that this is over in Korea, and it's Jung Soo In that is like the first case of this creature that has taken over our body, but also not really. As is very different in that like Jung Soo In's parasites can kind of take over our whole body, and they are never together at once. In the case of Shinichi, Migi is on his right hand, so he's always present, and he's able to, I guess, communicate one-on-one with Shinichi, right? Whereas Jung Soo In's parasite, and I don't recall his name or her name, the parasite in this case has to communicate through written text or video or something, because basically it takes over her consciousness, and she is no longer there. It's like she's now at the back of, the mind or something, right? So it's a full body takeover, right? And so it's very interesting dynamic that is playing here. It's very different from Shinichi's own. But it's still, I like it. I like the way they've built this character as well, and thumbs up to the writer that made it very Jung Soo In the sense that this is very like specific to her, and her own parasite is very different from Migi. Just to talk about the main cast in this, we have John Sony, who is playing Jung Soo In, and we have Kukyo Wan, who is playing Seol Kang Woo, who is this character that I guess his sister has been taken over by a parasite, and he's basically working with Jung Soo In to kind of stop all these things and this rampant take over, right? So almost like a sidekick, but not really. But yeah, his character is very interesting. I like him as well. In that they give him a good enough like reason to be there and to be doing the things he's doing, and he meshes so well with Jung Soo In that after a while, like by episode 3-4, I felt like these two were such a duo, and it was just great. We also have Lee Jung Hyun that's playing Choi Jun Kyung, who is the head of the Grey Team. And the Grey Team is basically this like military force, although they never really say it, which is one of the weirdest parts about this series, is that she's the head of the Grey Team, this sort of like government agency that is in charge of containing this issue, right? This monsters, and so she's the head of it. And I would just say that her character, Choi Jun Kyung, is the only character I really disliked in this whole drama. Typically, like a lot of these dramas, it's always the main like protagonist I dislike because they are always so unfitting. But in this case, Jung Soo In is so well written, her character is so well developed, and John Sony plays her so well because she doesn't have like a girly voice. She has a deeper voice, and so even when the parasite comes out, they seem like two different people, right? And so she fits so perfectly well, and she's just fun to watch, right? She has enough backstory that her actions make sense in a lot of ways. In the case of the head of the great team, this lady, she is easily the most irritating character in this, and she's easily the only the only negative, the only issue I have with this drama. Everything else I can kind of stand, but she is single-handedly very annoying, right? They tried to redeem her towards the end, but really it was never even really about the fact that she was like blinded by hate. I could get that part, right? I could get her being blinded by hate. It was like acting. She was acting so weird, in the sense that I guess it was supposed to be like some form of coping mechanism to the trauma of, watching her husband turn into this monster and cut off one of her ear or something like that, right? But like the way she came into the police office and was like making jokes, cracking jokes, and like, doing this theatrics with her body, like her smile, the way she was laughing, everything was just so off that it was so annoying to watch her, because it didn't make sense for the gravity of the situation, right? Like, it did not make sense. I get that, like, yeah, she's coping and this is how she copes, but it just did not fit the entire like universe that this is. She did not strike me as an actual leader. Maybe a member of the team in the gray like unit, but she did not strike me as a leader. Like, I don't imagine people following her lead, as a leader. Like, people actually following her instructions, because she was just so goofy that it was very annoying to watch. And like, when she was there and she was, introducing the idea, and like she was like, yes, and it was so odd to me that like she was written that way, because it just made no sense. I guess they were trying to show her as hip or like something like that. I don't know what they were trying to do with that character, but honestly, it wasn't working. She should have been doing her job. She should have been focused, serious, because this is not a laughing matter. People are dying over this thing, right? And she made it seem like it was like a one-time thing, rather than something that was taking over the whole of like the world and South Korea and everything. Like, and it was also odd that it was only her unit that like was there. Like, and maybe it's budget, and so that's why it was like that. But like, this is a national crisis, right? The Minister of Defense, it should have like also been there or something. Like, you don't understand what I mean? Like, it should have been not just like a few members that are fighting this thing. I expected more, right? Because again, this is like an epidemic, right? Like, literally these things are like creating hydras and like slashing people at this party. Like, this is a major thing, right? And it's only just her, acting out, and it's just so weird to me, and she just did not fit the old dynamic, right? And yeah, so she was my only gripe with this drama. Honestly, everything else was great. I really liked, like I said, how they wrote Jung Soo In, right? She's somebody that comes from a very troubled background, and she isn't over it, right? She is still struggling with this, and that is kind of where we find her, right? Her life has been difficult, and she's only had very few support over the years, right? When she's able to finally report about the domestic violence and everything that's going on in her house and everything, you can tell that she's also a really strong girl. And I really like the relationship she has with the police officer, because I feel like that would happen in real life too, right? Like, there are some victims that are just very tied to the person that like saves them, and there are also some police officers that are very like sympathetic to kids and just people that they've seen in scenarios of like abuse and stuff like that. So that relationship between her and the police officer was also very well written. They really know how to write interpersonal relationships. Even a relationship, like I mentioned, with Seol Kang Woo, it was very well developed for the short period of time they spent together, right? And you could see how they came to care for one another and rely on one another. And I really hope there's like a season 2 or a part 2, because this is only 6 episodes. So I hope that there's a part 2 where we see more of them, because their relationship isn't like romantic or anything, right? It's very like two like people that don't have a lot, that are finding like support with one another, right? And it's just very sweet. I hope they show more of it and we have more seasons, because they work well together and it's just so sweet to watch. So yeah, the interpersonal relationships that they show us in this is very well done. I really like Jung Soo In's Parasyte as well, because she's almost like a therapist. Right, she's like Jung Soo In's therapist. She also seems very mature in a way that Migi, I feel like, for Shinichi wasn't very mature. I feel like Jung Soo In's parasite was, right? She instantly understood Jung Soo in a way that was very good. Like, it was very well done. Like, the parasite seemed non-malicious. Even when she's explaining to Jung Soo that like she's taking over her body, and like she tried to take over her body and she couldn't because Jung Soo was weak. She said that as a matter of fact, like, I basically was going to take over your like existence, right? But sorry, I couldn't do it because you were a little weak. Yeah, I wish I did. And she just says it like that. Jung Soo is like, what? Right. And so the way she says things is just like she's a very realist, like pragmatic parasite, and she works well with Jung Soo in that way because Jung Soo is more on the emotional side. And I think having somebody like the parasite in her is going to be very like helpful for her. And you even see the moments where they have this whole therapy session, right? And she's trying to explain to Jung Soo why she should let go of a lot of the baggage she's holding, right? And it's just very sweet. I mean, she's doing that for self-preservation, but like this is the best kind of relationship you can hope for, right? It's very symbiotic, very well done. She also even has a good relationship with Seol Kang Woo, right? And that's what makes this amazing. Like both Jung Soo and the parasite have a like good relationship with Seol Kang Woo, and so it just works. All three of them work so well together. And again, Jung Soo plays an excellent dual character, right? So a good introduction to a new parasite. And honestly, I look forward. I really, really hope they don't end this here. I hope this gets really popular, and so they do a season 2 because this is way too short. Another thing I would say that I love about this is just general action scene, in the sense that like we see all the parasites fight, we see how they like change, like the CGI, everything, and it's all well done, I feel like, right? I like how they show the like different progressions of how like the parasite in Jung Soo kind of takes over more and more every time like she switches over, right? At first it's just like a small portion of her face, and then later it's like a whole arm and everything. And so I like that. And I guess it was the same with, well, no, Migi, if I remember, was able to be anything right from the beginning, if I recall, right? But yeah, I just like how they kept progressively showing more and more of the parasite as she takes over the whole of like Jung Soo In, and it was just so well done. I like the fact that she's powerful, she's very strong. Like they mentioned that the parasite inside Jung Soo In is quite powerful. Definitely not as powerful as Migi. Migi is on another level, but like she's also quite powerful, and you can tell that she's being constrained by Jung Soo In's body. But you can tell again she's working towards like becoming stronger and stronger, and I really, really like that. Then yeah, the final point I will mention that I just loved, it was just a little tidbit that I just loved, was the ending where the head of the Grey team like gets the notification that there's somebody there to see her, and she goes out and it's Shinichi. I screamed, like you should have seen me. I was like, oh my god. And like you see Shinichi like stretch out his right hand, and obviously like Migi is not gonna be on there, I assume. Like the expression on the lady's face that the head of the Grey team had, I mean, didn't seem like he could see Migi, but like the fact that he came all the way, probably from Japan, because he probably heard about her or something, is just amazing, right? And I hope that like Jung Soo In and Shinichi become like this, they do a crossover thing. It will be so amazing, guys, right? Like it will be the best thing ever. Like, you know what I hope? Because I hope Netflix bought the whole rights to like the Parasite franchise, like the mangas and everything, because I would love for like the next season to be about the like actual Shinichi and Migi, right? And then like the third season will be like their crossover, and it will be the most amazing thing. That is what I call like an actual world building scenario. Like that would be so awesome. But we'll see. But I like the guy that they've chosen to play Shinichi. He's new. I don't think he's the one that played it in the old version. I'm pretty sure it's not the one. But yeah, I was just so happy to see him. Like when he just opens, I was like, yeah, I was so excited. But anyways, yeah, I'm super excited. I hope they meet one day. But yeah, I am super, super excited about all this. This is gonna be amazing. Like Netflix has something good here. If they know what is good for them, they better like do this right, because this could be a big thing, right? So yeah, I really hope that they are able to fulfill. Thankfully, Parasite the Grey was pretty good. Like it was, I feel, well received. So, I feel like they will keep going with this, and I look forward to more seasons of this. It was actually just very, very good. And like the anticipation I have is just what I have to go do now is go watch some some reactions to Parasite the Grey, because I need to know what people think about this as well. But yeah, this has been my review of Parasite the Grey. I hope that you guys are watching this, or you've watched this and you also like it. If you don't like it, tell me why on my Reddit page. I am at u/dramasology. So yeah, tell me what you think, because this is just, I feel like it's a fantastic drama. But yeah, that's it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I hope you guys have a great week. Have a nice day. Bye.